So this is the Harbor Freight quick hitch as it comes. You can see it bolts on to this plate here. The big hook bolts onto this plate. And what the issue is these bolts hit the sides of your attachment and don't allow the top bolt to get far enough to fall into here because the plates are hitting those bolt heads. So what I've done is I got this at the height I need, from here down to here for all my attachments, which is, like I said, about the bottom holes. And I welded it on the side, underneath, and on the other side. And I'll go ahead and remove these bolts, cut this off, and weld the top of that and gusset it up a little bit. It'll end up looking like this one. This one here I've already done the modification on. Still need to knock the slag off and whatnot and clean it up, but you can see it's just been reinforced a little bit. And that way there's nothing blocking the attachment from coming all the way in, you know, as far as it needs to. All right, well, that was stupid. I cut these plates off like I did on the hitch over there for my skid steer because, like I said, it gets in the way. But I cut them off here and it's no issue because this mounts with the skid steer quick attach here with the plates and those mounts on the front there. So no issue here. This hitch going on my tractor, it uses a top link. So while I cut those plates off the top, I had to go ahead and modify them and re-weld them on there again so that this can now fit in there for the top link. So I'll show that once it's installed on the tractor, and obviously it's back far enough out of the way so it won't affect installation of any attachments. But if you go to cut that off, don't cut it all the way off because you need part of it. Okay, so here is the final product on the back of the tractor here. You can see here we've got a nice tight fit on the top link, and you can see here now where if the bolts were in here with the head of the bolt and then the plate would basically hit up against this part right here, and you can see from before all the markings where it would hit. Now this one wasn't bad, but some of the other attachments, this plate, this green plate, comes a lot further forward and there's just no way it could fit because of the width of this plus the width of the plate that used to be coming forward to here, plus the, you know, the nut in the head of the bolt. So the biggest reason why I wouldn't purchase the Harbor Freight quick hitch, but why I purchased a second one, is this. In order to use this on a Cat 1, the Cat 1 pins, which are inside there, are 7/8 inch. And the opening of this jaw is larger than that. I think it's 1.5 inches. So you have to buy these, some people call them bushings, some people call them pucks, whatever they are. And then they slide over your Cat 1 pin. And then there's a roll pin that you put in here through the hole to hold it in place. So you've got that on both sides to allow the tight fit in there. And while that seems great, one set of these bushings for 2 from Rural King is like $25. So when you've got multiple implements, right there I've got 4 or 5, that's over $100 just in these bushings right here. Whereas the Rural King quick hitch, those bottom hooks on the hitch are 7/8 inch diameter. They're the small pin size, so you don't need to buy any of those bushings. All right, this is my pulverizer, and what I'm going to do on this is, instead of buying the bushings, what I purchased was, for the bottom, I purchased a 7/8 inch bolt, and then That's a lift arm. It's a Cat 1 to Cat 2. Thought I said that on there somewhere. I guess not, but that's the 7/8 inch pin to 1 1/8 inch OD. And then, so that's Cat 1 to 2. Then this one here is Cat 2 to 3. So it fits nice inside there. And that brings it from, I don't know, I guess that would be, it brings it from 1 1/8 to 1 1/2, which is what fits in the bottom of the Harbor Freight quick hitch. So the reason I did this is because, like I said, those bushings cost $20 each, and instead of using a bushing on these, since they're trapped on both sides, I could put this in here, whereas on the other ones it's just the pin coming out without this outside plate, and you need it to slide over, and then that roll pin will hold it in place. And some people might wonder why I'm not just using, you know, pins with this. Reason being is when I put that on my skid steer, I'd like everything to be as tight as possible, and there's already quite a, you know, a little bit of slop there in that hook and the top hook. So getting these and mounting that tight, you know, it doesn't move at all. Whereas this over here, you know, it's got a little bit of play, and this in here, you know, even though I put some washers in there, it'll have a little bit of play. So I can tighten that down with the nut and get that where it doesn't move. And since my tractor has the quick hitch, my skid steer will have the quick hitch. I don't need to pull pins or anything, so all of my stuff can just be bolted on. I can back right up to it and hook in. On the top, I'm going to do kind of the same thing. That's a 3/4 inch top link pin. I've got a 3/4 inch bolt here. And then this is the top link, Cat 1 to Cat 2, which is 3/4 to something. And then this next one is from that something to 1.5 inches outside, which fits in the top hook. So I'll put that up in there with a couple washers as well, and this will be complete. Alright, this is the new hitch. That's unmodified. Basically, this edge back here is hitting this support plate back here. So, two options. One, I could grind this side down to make it not have to travel so far forward. Or two, I can grind this back side down, make it skinnier so it doesn't hit that back plate. I think that's the way I'm going to go with it. I've just painted my old hitch that's now welded to my skid steer plate, but I have done quite a bit of work to it. You can see the different shape it has. So I've already skinnied this back side up quite a bit. So. Success, finally. There we go. Nice tight fit there, and up there. You can see it clears that plate just barely. So I'll clean that up a little bit with a flap wheel and make it look pretty and get some paint on it. But some people might be wondering why I didn't grind this plate down. And the answer to that is I've got 5 more attachments over there, and every one of them, well, some of them have a plate here, some of them have another bolt back here. We'll go look at some of them, and this will just give me more clearance for all those attachments and any others I might borrow from somebody or rent or anything else. So there's that with a nice tight fit, ready to go work. I got off to flip the handles down, but I can reach back and do that. So switching back and forth between attachments, don't even have to leave the seat. Takes, 20 seconds. Okay, so here we are, some of the attachments and kind of what I was talking about with the bushings. So there's my homemade bush hog, and again the 3-point pins with the bushing and the roll pin on that one. It's got the right size up there, and as you can see on this one, see what it's got behind it is the back straps going to the back of the bush hog. So that could have been an interference with that hook that we just ground down. But I've used that a bunch before with my last, the quick attach that's now for the skid steer. Here's my rake. Again, set of bushings. And I put a bolt in the top. This was a little wide, so instead of cutting a longer spacer, or another spacer to fit in there with that spacer, I put washers in there, hoping that when the hook goes in there, it doesn't have as much room to slide back and forth. Again, just trying to minimize any play or noises. Again, set of bushings on that one. Here's the pulverizer we just talked about, and there's a tiller. So this one's again, we've got another interference on the back side there. So I think this was the one that initially gave me trouble the first time around with my first quick hitch, and why I originally ground that old hook down, because I couldn't get it to fit between there. And this one's a little goofy. This is a 4-foot cutter, and I saw somebody else do this. I was apprehensive, but I did it as well, and it seems to be working okay. But these are Cat 1 adjustable pins. You can see they're adjusted all the way out. That side's flush. All the threads sticking out. Same with that side. And then I used the dowel pin to go through the outside hole, for the adapter on there. So these pins stick out a good 6 inches or so from the mount. I don't like it, but it tills dirt, and I haven't had any issue with it. So the reason I bought a second Harbor Freight quick hitch is because I already had, $25, $50, $75, $100 in these bushings already purchased, and everything already fit correctly. So when it came time to modify my old one to go onto the skid steer mount, I bought a second one and modified it, pretty much the same way with the hook, to be able to use both on all my attachments. But if I was going to do it all over again, I would have bought the Rule King quick hitch from Speeco, or Speeco, S-P-E-E-C-O. It has a 7/8 inch hook down here instead of the 1.5. So you would not need all of the bushings, and you wouldn't need to install the spacers like we did there, and you'd save $100 on 4 attachments, which is the cost of the hitch itself. So go that direction. Thanks.